welcome back to another edition of the show. It's episode 298. What is it? March 18th, 2022?
March.
April. That's what I said. Yeah.
Oh, you said March.
Yeah, I said March.
Screwed that one up. It's NCAA weekend.
Let's bring him on. It's Johnny DiJulius. He's our guest. Already breaking my chops. Johnny, how are you?
Fantastic. How you guys doing?
I'm great, man. So I think probably most of our guests know Johnny wrestled at Ohio State, solid career.
Hey, I'm sorry. Wait, the
Johnny DiJulius.
No. The Ohio State.
You see what I did there? The TOSU, the small T, big OSU. The Ohio State, Johnny DiJulius, banana hands, they call him. Zeb, I think, phrased that. But now he's like batshit crazy, and he just jumps off anything. Like
that's right.
Cars, houses, moving vehicles, bridges, buildings.
Whatever's high enough.
So I know, like, obviously I follow you on Instagram, and I know what you do, sort of. And I know, like, you just, at some point you probably thought, hey, I want to go skydive, and you didn't think it would, like, turn into what it is. But so tell me about your first time skydiving, how you got into it, and let's just hear about the first experience.
Okay, so I was 18. I've never drank alcohol my entire life. I've never partied. Well, I've gone out before, like, to parties, but I've never partied per se, right?
Yep.
So I never drank before. So I remember when I was 18, my dad was like, hey, what do you want to do for your 18th birthday? You know, a lot of kids, I feel like 18, 19, 20, 21, like that's fun birthdays, right? You go out, you party, you know, you go maybe to a bunch of friends' houses and pregame. I wasn't going to do that, right? So instead, I was like, what can I do? Like, now that I'm like officially 18, what can I get away with? I could skydive. Maybe I'll do that, right? So I asked my dad, I was like, let's go tandem skydiving. So July 10th, 2010, right? No, the date to the, exact date. He took me skydiving. He just dropped me off. I went tandem. Tandem means, strapped to this random stranger, right? I'm like sitting on this guy's lap. And then I went 2 more times after that. So I went 3 tandems total.
The same day?
And no, like over the next like few weeks.
Yep.
And then someone was like, dude, you're wasting your money. If you like it, take the AFF course, which means solo. Take the AFF course and jump alone. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. It's like a 25 jump course. I did it, got my A license. That kind of snowballed into base jumping, which not a lot of skydivers do. It's a very niche community. And then base jumping just kind of snowballed into, wanting to see the whole world and doing adventurous stuff.
So do you know how many jumps you're in skydiving or all?
Yeah, I'm roughly in the 500-600s. Less than 600, 500s.
Is that skydiving or is that including base?
That's only skydiving.
Okay.
It's jumping about 150.
Okay, so we're like 850, roughly.
Yeah, in there somewhere.
We'll hit 1,000. What, this year, next year? Not we,
no,
right?
No, yeah, it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a minute. Cause I slowed skydiving down a lot just because I base jump so much. So it's way more fun, and there's no rules, which is even cooler. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
So, like, it's your career? Is this what you do for a job? I believe.
I'd eventually like it to be. It'd be cool to do some stunt work. Obviously, because, okay. So I can't show because I have a sleeve on, but I have a tattoo on my arm that says Base 2487. So when you do all 4 objects, not a lot of people realize BASE is an acronym for building, antenna, span, which is bridges, and earth, which is cliffs, right? When you jump all 4 fixed objects, you get a number. And it's kind of like a congratulations moment, like in our small little world, right? But I'm the 2,487th base jumper in the world since 1980. It's a very small community.
Wow.
And, contrary to what a lot of people think, it's not just as easy as, oh, it worked, it opened, right? There's a lot of skill, progression, like anything that goes into it. So, it's a small community. I'd like to do some stunt work, having a wrestling background, maybe like a little base jumping. That'd be cool to be able to do. But yeah, overall, I want to, I have a brand that goes along with base jumping and whatnot. And I want to just inspire people to do to do cool stuff, and through that.
Okay, what's your brand?
It's called No Tomorrow.
That's
Boom,
what I thought.
right
I've
here.
seen it. I've seen
Yeah.
it on you on Instagram.
Right. It doesn't mean like go, kill yourself, jump off a bridge. It's like more like live in the moment, kind of thing. Just do stuff that makes you feel present. You know who actually likes it a lot is Ridge Lovett. He always messages me about how he likes it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell me progression from, and I guess you kind of went over it, but like, when does it go from a hobby to like, it's more than a hobby. Maybe it's not a career, but maybe it kind of is. But
your life, so you don't want to, you don't want to anything bad to happen. So yeah, you got to treat it like more than a hobby. But no, it's just a good way to say it is, okay, there's a kid out there that is questioning if he should wrestle in college, right? Yeah. Maybe he didn't have a greatest high school career, but he loves wrestling. I don't know. People are going to make fun of me if I wrestle in college. If I do this, I don't know if I'm good enough. If I could start, if, and all these ifs are kind of going to his head. The most liberating moment for that kid's life is going to be when he finally decides, it, right? And then wrestles. I almost slipped up and said the real word.
It's okay.
F it and like actually wrestles. That's going to be a very free moment, right? Now, the consequences of him doing bad, the bad side of that jump that he's taking is he gets made fun of. That's like the worst thing that could happen. Maybe he gets cut from a team. Obviously the consequences in our sport are a lot dire, right? They're a lot worse, but that liberating moment of, oh my gosh, if I jump off this thing, I don't know what's going to happen. It's the unknown. It's so much, so many what ifs are in front of me. The second you choose to jump, right, it is a very liberating moment, and it's free. It's present. It's, oh my gosh, I don't even care about the what ifs, the people making fun of me that I'm wrestling in college, that I'm doing this, that I'm doing that, because you're just there. You know what I mean? So it's more than a hobby. It's a very unique thing that it's hard to replicate.
I think that's cool. The liberating aspect that you just described and how it can be.
Yeah, you want to feel it? I'll take you skydiving.
I kind of do. At some point,
I'll be in Texas for some clinics in June.
June? Let me check my calendar. I'm free.
Come on,
okay.
Let's go jump out of a plane.
I jump out of a plane. Rush? Where's the closest place to Austin? I know you've been to Austin.
Yeah, I wonder how far Skydive Spaceland is. It's pretty famous in Texas. I don't know what city it is in Texas though. Skydive Spaceland is like renowned. It's huge. We'll get you up in a plane, man. We'll play chicken with the earth. You'll have fun.
Chicken with the earth. Fentress, Texas. I don't know where that is. Caldwell County. Yeah, that's not far. All right, Caldwell County.
We're going.
When are you coming? Do you know the dates?
Yeah, May 31st through like June 3rd or something like that.
Oh man.
Oh no.
No, I said oh man because I'll be.
Because it works. It checks out. Oh, man.
I think I'll be in Arizona right before that, and I'll be here at the end of May and the beginning of June. My hands are kind of starting to sweat a little bit.
That's good. How's everything going with you though? How's Flo? How's the season was great. That's awesome. Everything good?
Yeah, things are great. Flow's moving ahead. So you've been here. I believe we're off Springdale in this big like warehouse office. It's where our studio is. You've been in the studio.
I've only been to the old one. The old one I went to with you.
Yeah, that's where I am right now. This is the old
no
one.
way. Oh,
so we have two spots now. We have the one oh no. You did go to the old studio. So now there's another place we've had since 2018, and we just moved out of here and into like the 15th and 16th floors on the middle of downtown. So we're like up in the air.
How many floors?
We're on the 15th and 16th. There's more above us, but there's no windows to get outside from our suite. But I'm sure there is a way on the roof. Maybe we'll give it a try.
Last time I was in Austin. Not last time I was in Austin. I'm sorry. Last time I was with you guys, though.
Yeah.
It was me and Palacio in 2017.
I do remember that. That was right before we moved out of that other spot, which was like a auto shop converted into a.
I liked it though. It was homey.
Yeah, no, it was great. It just wasn't big enough. Cool. The company keeps growing, and
you guys have the little taco truck outside.
Perfect. One of the best taco trucks in Austin. There's another one, but there's another one by this one. It's good, but it's not quite the same.
Do the trick. I got you.
Yeah. Yolanda. She doesn't speak English. Like dos tacos con chorizo, por favor. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Un poquito.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so first time you told me about the first time you went skydiving because you're becoming a man. You want to drink. You don't want to drink. You want to do something, and you decided to do that.
Which I'm 29 now, right? I'm an old man. I'm proud to say I've never had a sip of alcohol. A lot of people, when I say that, they're like, "Oh, what? You think you're better than us?" And I'm like, "No, I think I'm way worse than everybody. That's why I don't drink." You know what I mean? So, I am proud to say that, I have never tried it. Don't care if people do. I just know how I would be. So I think it's cool that I've never, dabbled with it.
When you say I just know how I would be, what, you're so crazy that you would do? I mean, you do all this stuff.
I'm
sober?
like an extremist in everything I do. Like, even in like the car, I can't have like the temperature at 72. It's either blazing hot or like ice cold. You know what I mean? Like nothing's moderate ever. So I just know I'd be out of pocket and just like, wanting to party all the time. So I just knew myself well enough to know, hey, you know what? Maybe I should probably stay away from it.
That's cool. Was that how you were with wrestling? Was that why you got into wrestling? Because you loved something and you just dove head first?
It's funny. The reason I wrestle is very similar to the reason I don't drink. It's not because of wrestling I don't drink. Oh, side note. People look at my Instagram, like you said now, and they go, oh, he's a maniac. He's a skydiver. He's a base jumper. I'm a wrestler first at heart, right? I'm a wrestler through and through. I even have it in my bio. I have base jumper in my bio, but above it, the number one thing is second. It's wrestler first. So that's important. That's what made me who I am, right? Obviously. But I'm going to get a little deep with you for a second. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I was 16 years old. I was actually watching the NCAA finals. All right. I'm going to throw you for a deep little loop right now. Okay. I don't know if we ever talked about this before. We maybe have, but it's been a while. I was 16 years old. I was actually watching Jay Jaggers beat Chad Mendez. It was 2009, and that was sick. And shout out to Jay. And I got a phone call during the Nationals, unfortunately, that my mom passed away. Right? She was hit by a car. Long story. Alcohol didn't kill her per se, right? But alcohol led her down this path where that ended up, being the result, right? Where she ended up, passing away. So I remember going to school, the next week or maybe 2 weeks later or whenever I went back to like regular life. And like every teacher was like, yo, don't go down a bad path. Don't go down a bad path. And I was like, what are you guys like? I didn't know at the time that people like mourned by, substance abuse. I didn't understand that. And at this point I never drank yet. So everybody was like, hey, make sure you stay on the straight and narrow. So almost as like an FU to everybody. I was like, I'm just never going to do anything. Right. So I never tried anything. And then people started saying, oh, you will in college. You'll do it in college. And I'm like, no, I won't. So I just, as an FU to them, never did in college. And the short answer is I can say, oh, I did it because of wrestling. But it's actually because more so my mom. Right.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when I'm 18, I wanted to skydive. My mom was a very like bright human spirit, right? She was like very like, she come in the room, everybody, wanted to talk to her. So she went skydiving. And I always remembered like, wow, you know what? I want to do that one day. So when I turned 18, it was kind of always a thing. Like, you know what? I'm going to try skydiving. So she's kind of, the catalyst that sparked me on two very big character traits that I have, somebody who's never drank and still, I like to think is personable and extroverted and talks a lot. And friendly. And then at the same time, something, parachuting that changed a lot of how I live life.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that story. We had never talked about that before. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Back to you told me about the first time you skydived. When was the first time you base jumped?
So the first time I base jumped was, New River Gorge in West Virginia. Shout out to Kyle Brackey. New River Gorge. Dude, was he at WU right now, right?
Yeah, WVU. I think he's director of
Killing
ops.
it.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
He's awesome.
I was at New River like 2018 or something like that, but that's also a very high bridge. It's not a skydive, but in base jumping, 876 feet is huge. It is a lot of time. And a bridge is a very forgiving object, if that makes sense. An off heading means if my parachute opens and I'm facing this direction, but I have an off heading, so I turn left, turn right, or I have a 180. You know what I mean? there's the whole other side of the bridge you don't really have to worry about. You don't have that luxury on a building or a cliff, as you saw from that cliff video, right? You don't have that. So if you have, a 180 on a gnarlier, quote unquote, object, right? It's not going to be a fun day. But yeah, I went in like 2018, did the bridge. I actually did the bridge like 2 or 3 times that day, and then went a whole year to the next. It's called Bridge Day. It's an event. To the next Bridge Day, I didn't jump again. So my first, that was the first base jump by definition, but my first real base jump, I remember it was maybe like 2019. It was 2018. It was before Harvard. It was 2018. I was training at Ohio State still. I was wrestling at Ohio State. Tom hated this stuff, man.
Of course.
Especially when I took his son skydiving. I took Kyle Snyder skydiving like 3 weeks before the Olympics. It was like, yeah, Tom hated it. Dude, Kyle called me. He was like, yo, man, what are you doing today? And I'm like, I'm at the drop zone right now. He's like, 6, send the location. And I was like, all right, I mean, free will.
Oh my God.
It was 2018, and my buddy found this antenna, cell phone tower. It was like 400 feet. And I'm not, incriminating myself. We maybe jumped it, right?
Maybe not. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. He was like, hey man, let's go do this. I've never done a cell phone tower before, right? That was like my first urban thing. There's a lot of variables that go into it. There's, you feel like a big kid playing ding dong ditch because it's technically like you're not supposed to be here, right? Like that whole thing. So there was the sneaking element. There was the, you're adopted into this kind of like secret society of, hey, don't show or tell anybody this. I'm on a podcast right now talking about it.
Yeah, I was on Instagram.
But that was a very unique experience. And then you climb this huge ass structure, and then you lunge yourself off it. It's a very, very cool experience. It was at night. I remember there was like fog below where I climbed to, so I couldn't even see. It was like super spooky. And that was like my first real base jump, and I was petrified. It was like a slow motion moment. It was like, as I jump, it was surreal. I didn't even know it was really happening. It was sensory freaking overload. Almost like you're about to make a walk to a wrestling. Wrestling is such a great metaphor for so many things, right? I don't care. The hardest things I've done, I've swam with sharks. I've climbed mountains. I've base jumped. I've wingsuit. I've done the scariest things in the world. There's nothing harder than 7 minutes in the Big Ten, and I will stick to that. You know what I mean? That is something I'll die with.
Man, that's what I was just gonna say. Are you ever scared? And you said once you jumped, you were scared. Have you ever been I don't know if I in a plane or base?
It's cool.
What?
Ask anything if you're holding back the questions.
Have you ever been afraid?
Die moment.
Well, I've ever been maybe I don't want to do this. But you're at the top.
I've walked down objects before.
Like what?
Which in the base, it's cool. We were in Panama, me and my buddies, and we were climbing this 70. It was an under construction building. Construction buildings are the easiest access, right? It's hard to get access to Holiday Inn in downtown wherever. It's just hard too. Construction buildings are easy access, right? And we're climbing the stairs of this 70-foot building. And I just didn't feel the vibe. It wasn't bad weather, right? It wasn't super high winds. Pretty good weather. It was an object that I probably could have successfully jumped, but I was nervous. I was scared, And I looked at my buddies and I just said, hey guys, I don't feel it today. And I'll get it next time. And I just walked down. And in base jumping, if that happened in cliff jumping, where people jump off cliffs into the water, right? Your buddies will call you names. Oh, you wimp! You should have done it. Da, da, da. In base jumping, it's almost like an unspoken rule. You don't do that. You look at the person, you say, "Hey, good job doing that." It's better to wish you jumped than wish you didn't. I respect it. They kept going up. They jumped. They landed fine. I walked down. It just is what it is. The building's not going anywhere. Live to jump another day. That's the thought. But dude, the word fear, wrestlers piss me off with that word. I hate when, not just wrestlers, everybody acts like they're fearless. Fear, you're not fearless. No, that's not a thing. If you're fearless, you're an idiot. You're naive, right? You don't understand the consequences of what could actually happen here, or you're a freaking liar, right? I've done the scariest things in the world, and I'm overwhelmed with fear sometimes. It just is what it is. The true badass isn't the person who is fearless. You're not a badass if you're fearless. You have no fear. The true badass is like the person who is overwhelmed with fear. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. And still like steps forward anyways. He like overcomes it. That's like a bad dude. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I feel about that word, like fearless. I really don't like it. I also don't like when people say fear is fake. It's not fake. It's innate in every single species on the planet. They have an innate natural survival instinct. Hey, this is scary. Go the other direction, right? So I don't think it's fake. I think people can play things up in their head and psych themselves out. That might be fake, that element to it. The actual feeling of fear it could be your friend. It can show you some really cool emotions that you've never even tapped into before, you know?
Have you gotten to that point where you felt emotions you never felt before?
Oh yeah. Crazy. It's like, you have that in wrestling though, you know, I remember this one time Big Tens was at Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it was at the small D,
Yeah,
the Ohio State. And I remember we were tied with Iowa, right? And I had Corey Clark in the 3rd and 4th place match. So I hate that kid, by the way. I had to wrestle him, and we were tied with Iowa. It was like back and forth all weekend, right? You know, Ohio State's winning, and then boom, Iowa's winning, and we were just going back and forth. Hunter Stever comes out of nowhere with broken elbows, and he wrestles and he wins, and you know, we take the lead again. And long story short, we're tied on day 2, and it's the final session. Right.
Matches, yeah.
And I'm in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is bigger than just me winning right now. I beat Corey during the year at the dual meet. You know, he beat me the first day at Big Tens in the quarterfinals. Like, this is crazy. And every what if, you know, happens pre-match. Once you start wrestling and you're in flow, you don't have those anymore, right? Yeah. The misery is pre-match. So it's like, you know, am I going to win? Oh, who's here? Who's watching? All these uncontrollables that you probably have to train your mind not to think about. Sometimes you succumb victim to, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm warming up and I'm like calming myself down a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out there, you know, just boom, can win the hand fight right away. And I'm thinking about all these things. And there's, you know, X amount of people there, right? Going crazy. There's 15,000. I don't know how many people fit in St. John's Arena, but it was sold out, 15,000 people. And I feel someone smack me on my butt. Hey, good luck. Like, oh, is it Tom Ryan? Is it Jake Jaggers? Is it one of my coaches? And I turn around and it's Urban Meyer. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
the football coach, right?
Here. He's the head football coach at Ohio State. He's a big deal at Ohio, you know? So I remember turning around, I'm like, okay, this is wild. And he's like, hey, we need you. And I'm like, you don't know anything about wrestling. What are you talking about?
Stop this. Stop. I know this.
Yeah, I know you need me. I need me. Like, what are you talking about? And it was cool. You know, went out and, you know, you wrestle and guess what? It's not life or death. You know, it's a wrestling match. And, you know, whether you win or lose, you put it on the line, try to win and live to wrestle another day. That's how it goes.
Yep.
Okay. People still love you after you lose. You know that? People still love you after you lose.
Did you lose? Is that why you're saying that?
I ended up losing. I will say though, because like I said, that was like one of my rivals. My last match with him, I did win. So I lost that one, but I got the last one.
Where was the last one? A dual meet the next year or U.S. Open? Okay. You had some good U.S. Opens. I think you beat Jason. Did you pin Jason Ness at the U.S. Open?
I didn't pin Jason Ness.
You beat him though. Which to me was an upset.
I was losing like 4-1, 5-1. And you remember my dump that I used to hit my railroad?
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes people, if I pull this on, or sometimes people roll across their back and they just give up the exposure. But sometimes people roll back into the arm to not give up back exposure, right? Which gives me a trap arm every single time. And I loved when people did that. So yeah, I got a trap arm off him, and you know, I freaking love freestyle. It's the best. You know, one little sprint puts you right back in it. It's in folk style. If I'm winning 6-1, 7-1, I'm extremely uncomfortable, right? Like my body is going into like that, oh my gosh, I don't want to be here, fight or flight state.
Yep.
But I'm not like super stressed, right? Like the score doesn't stress me out because you almost do the math game. Oh, you'd have to do takedown, let him up 6, 7 times in order to beat, right? It's not the end of the world. Freestyle, it's constantly, you have to have your head on. You have to be ready to go. And I like that. I think it's better, right? There's some aspects that are better in folk style. I like freestyle more, but I love that you can't let your guard down in freestyle. One sprint could put somebody back in the match. And that's super exciting. That's super exciting. I think it's super fan friendly too.
I do too. It's freestyle season. I'm excited. The U.S. Open's right around the corner. World Team Trials, Final X, World Championships. You got ranking series mixed in between, and it's just like it's good. I love the vibe of freestyle tournaments, and like you said, it's never over unless it's a tech. Anybody can come back.
But people misconstrue that with the lesser guy can win. I don't think that's the truth either. I think the better guy can wrestle all 6 minutes, right? The better guy is going to put more moves out there in a 6-minute window. But just because points, can happen, I don't want to say easier. That's a weird word, right?
Faster,
I don't think that means the lesser guy can sneak one sometimes. Does that happen? Yeah, that's happened. I've seen it happen in a million different sports, not just wrestling, not just freestyle wrestling, but I think traditionally the better guy puts out the better product and comes out on top majority of the time. That's just what I think happens,
Agreed. Okay, we only got about 8 minutes left.
Oh man, I can talk to you all day.
I know we're gonna have to have you back on, but I want to pull up this video, the one where I'm like, oh my god, Johnny broke his leg. Johnny's leg snapped in half.
I walked away from it pretty good.
Mike told me. Actually, Mike's like, Johnny broke his leg, and he posted the freaking video. I'm like, what?
Oh,
I gotta watch this. Okay, so where is this?
Undisclosed location.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. United States.
Yeah.
Oh God. What happened?
Yeah, I'm fighting off the wall. So we'll talk about it. I'm fighting off the wall right now. I'm kicking. And I turn, I look up, and you'll see my parachute. You'll see a glance at it, right? Yeah. And then you'll see it again right here. It's all shredded, right? You have 7 cells on a canopy, and only 2 of them are fully inflated right now. So I can't fly out of this talus, and I hit this chimney spire, right? And smack, bang, whap. I got hung up there for about an hour. So
you trying to get caught on it? Like you trying to get caught on something?
I didn't try to. It was, I guess, you don't really want to say the word lucky on that jump, but yeah, that was lucky that it got hung up because, if it didn't get hung up, I would have kept hitting that cliff the whole way, the next 50 feet till I hit the ground, right? So,
like, was this like if I don't get hung up on something, I'm gonna die?
A guy died that way about a week later. In another country, there was a cliff that was positive. Positive means like it's not super sheer like this; it's slightly positive. If that makes sense. And
angle.
Separate. We have a term: separation is life. So when I jump off something, your push, right? Your push is everything. If you could take a runner like I just did and get super separation, that's even better, right? So as you open, a lot of people look at base jumping, and they go, "Oh, his parachute open. He's good," right? It's not a lottery ticket. It's not like luck of the draw. That's not how it works. We expect, knock on wood, the gear to work. That's not the fear. The fear is what happens after pop, pop, boom, my parachute's open. That's what when the gnarliness kind of comes in. Where am I? Where am I flying to? Are there trees? Are there rocks? Am I on heading or am I facing the cliff like I did? Which could be pack related issues, wind related, body position. If my shoulders are off center, as that thing comes off my back, boom, it can snap me around. Subterminal things when you're not going 120 miles an hour yet. There's a lot of room for error. And, are there power lines, right? Are we in an urban setting? Is it nighttime because I'm trying to avoid security, right? Like there's so many things that go into it. That it's very, margin for error is very small. And I'm saying this and people are probably listening like, why does he do it? Right. Like I said, that liberating moment, that free moment is it's unique. And, just like anything, why would you play golf, right? There's progression. Anything that has progression is very addictive. That's how I feel about wrestling. People get not nervous. People dislike the feelings before matches. Ooh, this guy's good. And sometimes we'll get to a point where we don't want to wrestle because we don't want to lose, right? Like people get to that point so much. Kids, I see it a lot. They care about winning and losing so much. they forget that the addicting part is the challenge, right? You have to want to win. I'm sorry, you have to want to compete more than you want to win. Same thing with base jumping. There is progression and growth. You don't just start out as a black belt. And I'm not a black belt by any means. I'm nowhere near. These guys that I jump with are the best in the world, right? But you don't start off like that. You work your way up. You're in grade school wrestling, then you get to junior high, then you're maybe in high school, but you qualify for states, but then you're in high school and you qualify the next year and you place, then you win it. Now you're wrestling in college, and it's progression like anything, which makes it exciting.
Are you a grade school, middle school, high school, college level wrestler, base jumper? Yeah.
I'm a grade school one, man.
Really? Holy cow.
I mean, I've done some technical things, like the car base, like you said. That was pretty technical, jumping off that car. There's a lot of like math that goes into it. Like, I'm going to hit you with a big word, right? This is where I coached at Harvard comes in. Inertia, like, just moving on a vehicle. Obviously, if I jump, I don't just fall straight. Like, I'm going to be moving the same speed that vehicle was moving. So that window that I have to jump, you want to time it up. So you open your parachute in the middle of the canyon, so you're not too close to the edge. There's like a whole thing that goes into it, right? So that's fun. The logistical side is very fun for me, very fun. But yeah, I'm a grade school wrestler, bro.
Okay, you think that video we just watched, you banged the side of the cliff, your leg, it looks like it was broken. I guess it wasn't.
I walked away fine, yeah.
How did you get down? You said I hung up there for an hour.
I had a base jumper buddy hike up, took him like an hour. I ungeared and like kind of just, Alex Honnold on the wall for a minute. And I don't know if you know Alex Honnold. He was the free solo guy in the documentary.
Sure, I've seen it. Yeah.
And I just hung to the wall. He comes up. There was no rescue or anything needed, but he like kind of coached me down verbally. And that was super, super spooky coming down off that thing. Because at the end, I just kind of did a little victory jump, to get off it, like 5 feet over in the air.
Was that scary? Was any part like? Did you know they saw you? Were you curious if they knew what happened?
I fortunately had service, so I called right away. And I'm like, dude, and they're like, dude, are you good? And I'm okay. And had a wall strike. That's what it's called, the object strike. I had a wall strike, double wall strike, and fought off it. Turned out couldn't fly out of the talus just because my parachute was shredded, so I couldn't really get any forward movement at all, or this is called toggles. You have 2 toggles right here, and I couldn't steer because I was scared my canopy was just going to rip. If I yanked one side, I didn't know, everything was shredded. So, I called them. They were stoked. I was good. Hiked up. I was kind of in like a weird accessible place. It's you're supposed to fly out off that part, but I lost so much altitude fighting the wall that I got hung up in there. Right. It was a very technical area, but got out, and I was brutally sore the next day. I felt like I just wrestled 5 matches, but I was good. I wrestled a wall, not nobody from Penn State. It was just a wall.
Man, all right. I do. This sucks because this is awesome conversation, but we only have so much time in the studio, and I had a dentist appointment this morning, so we had to get a little bit.
Hey, you look good. You look good.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm glad you said that. We got a couple things we didn't get to.
You look like a base skydiver, Johnny Utah. You look freaking
good,
man.
Johnny Utah. I like that name. We're gonna go with it.
You ever seen Point Break?
It's been a long time, but
Come on, man. Go back to the 90s. Go see Patrick Swayze.
All right, I'm game. Johnny, we'll have you on again because this just wasn't enough time. I got so many questions. Kyle's got some. We didn't even let Kyle speak, but Kyle, you got one question. We got less than a minute.
Oh, I thought he was just like the engineer.
Got any questions for him?
No, just I won't get to my sweated out questions, but is there anything that people would be surprised about that you are fearful of, like public speaking or something that most people?
I won't think it's public speaking.
I actually I really like speaking. Speaking is cool. My dad's actually a speaker. Something that I'm fearful of, dude. I've traveled all over the world, right? I've been to probably 40 plus countries, and I am terrified of trying new food. I won't eat seafood. I'll be like in the Philippines and I'll get like Subway. I'm such a baby. And I hate it. And I hate that I'm like that. I wish I could branch out, But if somebody puts like something new in front of me, I like get sick. I'm like, I will not try this. So I'm like terrified of trying new food. As much as I love new experiences, new food freaking freaks me out. And you know what else? Cliff diving into water. That is a scary thing. It's super scary.
Who's this guy? What do you mean cliff
Listen,
diving?
man, I'm not scared to like die on cliff diving. I'm scared to smack my face on water and have a red,
No, we don't got to mark up that pretty mug of yours. So
yeah, I got these cow fires already. I can't do anything else new.
Yeah. All right, Johnny. Well, man, let's bring it back again. We got these shows 3 days a week, so there's 52 weeks in a year. Lots of opportunities. Appreciate you sharing your stories. And the analogies were awesome. Your energy is unmatched. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. For Johnny DiJulius and Kyle Klingman, I'm Mark Bader. We'll see you next time. Adios.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
See ya.
Yeah, bye-bye.